Anne loves watching the game show, Can't Stop the Quiz, on TV every night. She's been watching it since she was a little girl. The show has been on the air since 1985, and the same host, Terry McTeer, has been hosting it the whole time. Anne's life is pretty quiet and routine. She works in an office and doesn't have many friends. But she loves watching Can't Stop the Quiz because it makes her feel happy and comfortable. One night, Anne is watching the show and she really hopes that the current champion, Ron Heekek, will finally lose. She doesn't like Ron because he's too confident and charming. But Ron keeps winning and Anne gets more and more frustrated. Despite her frustration, Anne keeps watching the show every night. She loves Terry and the way he hosts the show. She even salutes him along with his signature sign-off. Anne's life may be quiet, but she finds joy in the simple things, like watching her favorite game show every night. Anne's mom, Crystal, has gone missing from her nursing home. Anne gets a call from the nursing home and goes there to find out what happened. She meets with the staff and her sister Jenny, who has arrived unexpectedly. The staff tells them that Crystal has been kicked out of the nursing home for breaking the rules too many times. Anne and Jenny are shocked and don't know what to do. Jenny asks to stay with Anne for a few days, and Anne agrees. When they get to Anne's house, Jenny makes herself at home and starts unpacking her bags. Anne is annoyed but tries to be patient. Jenny tells Anne about a lawsuit she filed against a restaurant because she found a fish bone in her food. Anne is skeptical and doesn't think Jenny should have sued. That night, Anne watches her favorite game show, Can't Stop the Quiz, and gets every question right. Jenny is impressed and asks why Anne hasn't gone on the show. Anne says she's not good at being in the spotlight. Jenny teases Anne about being scared of the show's champion, Ron, and Anne gets annoyed. She turns off the TV and goes to the kitchen. Jenny turns it back on and continues watching the show. Jenny wakes up on Anne's couch, still wearing a face mask and hair extensions. She finds a note from Anne saying she's at work and will be home at 5. Jenny gets up and looks around the kitchen, which is very tidy and organized. She finds a bobblehead of Terry McTeer, the game show host, and moves it out of place. Later, Jenny meets her friend Wendy at a coffee shop. Jenny is talking about how hard it is to achieve her dreams of being rich, famous, and loved. Wendy listens and nods. Jenny says she can't give up and has to keep trying. Wendy mentions that she wants to open her own bakery but it's hard, so Jenny encourages her to go for it. After their conversation, Jenny suddenly remembers something and rushes out of the coffee shop. Anne comes home to find Jenny waiting on the stoop. Jenny's excited about her new career as a life coach and wants to help Anne first. Anne is skeptical, remembering Jenny's many past career ideas. Jenny thinks Anne needs help, but Anne declines, saying her life is fine. Anne is also annoyed that Jenny made a mess in the kitchen and moved her collectible bobblehead. Anne and Jenny are at home, watching a quiz show. Jenny secretly films Anne answering questions and posts the video online. The next morning, Anne's phone is blowing up, and she's shocked to find out the video has gone viral. At work, her coworkers are all talking about it, and she's mortified. She calls Jenny, demanding she take the video down, but Jenny refuses, saying it's an opportunity for Anne to become famous. Anne is furious, feeling like Jenny always does things without thinking about how they affect others. Anne is having a panic attack at work due to the viral video and harassing calls. She escapes the office and meets Ken, a friend of her mom's, who's looking for her mom to collect an $80,000 debt. Anne reveals her mom is in Macau, and Ken threatens her to cover the debt or else she'll never see her dog again. He gives her a card with his number and 2 weeks to come up with the money. Anne is horrified and worried about her dog's safety. Anne returns home to find her front door open and her dog, Mr. Linguini, missing. She's devastated and blames Jenny for posting the viral video that led the bookie, Ken, to her. Jenny tries to call their mom, Crystal, who's in Macau with an $80,000 debt. Crystal suggests they come to Macau, but Jenny refuses. Jenny then reveals that the quiz show wants Anne to audition in Philadelphia, which could help pay off the debt. Anne is hesitant, feeling embarrassed and unprepared for live TV. Jenny suggests alternative ways to raise the money, including selling Anne's eggs, which Anne rejects. Jenny kidnapped Anne to ensure she participates. They get into a car accident and have a fight, but eventually continue their journey. When they arrive in Philadelphia, they struggle to find a hotel due to a pharmaceutical convention. They finally find a quaint inn, Ben Franklin Inn and Spa, where they meet a nervous Ben Franklin impersonator. Jenny questions his authenticity, and they eventually get a room with one full-size bed, which they must share. Anne receives a reminder about the quiz show audition and realizes she needs to find a TV to prepare. She had watched the quiz show every day since she was 4 and couldn't miss it. Jenny, trying to help, got them into a sports bar to watch the show, but her aggressive behavior caused a scene. The next day, Anne and Jenny visited the emergency room after Jenny dislocated her wrist. At the hospital, they reminisced about their past, including a summer spent with their stylish and intimidating Korean cousins in California. The memories brought up mixed emotions, and Anne opened up about feeling unwelcome and scared during that visit. After the doctor fixed Jenny's wrist, they returned to their hotel room, where Anne received a disturbing video from Ken, who was holding their dog, Mr. Linguini, hostage. Ken threatened to keep Mr. Linguini happy and comfortable, unless Anne paid him back. Jenny promised to help Anne get Mr. Linguini back. As they tried to rest, Anne pulled out Jenny's old laptop to create some background noise. Jenny applied a face mask, and they discussed their past relationships and acquaintances, including Chad, a supposed CIA agent who gave Jenny the laptop. The next morning, Anne woke up nervous and vomiting. Jenny tried to calm her down, but Anne was convinced she would fail like Mary Beth Windlemore, the lowest-scoring contestant of all time. Jenny filled out the audition form while Anne stepped outside for air, but Anne tried to make a run for it. Jenny tackled her to the floor, and they had a heart-to-heart. Jenny offered Anne some diazepam to calm her nerves, but Anne accidentally swallowed the whole pill. As they walked into the audition room, Anne started to feel the effects of the drug. The room became brighter and more welcoming, and Anne's anxiety disappeared. As the audition began, Anne was slumped in her chair, grinning from ear to ear. Jenny tried to keep her mouth closed, but it kept flopping open. Mercedes announced the first contestants, including Anne, and Jenny panicked. Anne, still under the influence of the diazepam, took her place at the podium for the quiz show audition. She was relaxed and happy, but also spaced out. Jenny watched from the audience, panicked, and tried to give Anne another pill to calm her down. However, the pill had the opposite effect, and Anne became jittery and alert. As the audition continued, Anne's behavior became more erratic. She chugged water, crushed a plastic bottle, and threw it away. But despite her strange behavior, Anne answered the questions correctly and impressed the judges. After the audition, Jenny revealed that she had given Anne a pill that was, basically meth. Anne was too tired to be mad, and Jenny helped her into the car. As they drove away, Jenny smiled, knowing that Anne had crushed the audition. The next morning, Anne and Jenny had breakfast at the Ben Franklin Inn, where they met Ben Franklin himself. Jenny received an email from the quiz show, saying that they would be calling soon. Anne was excited, but also worried about the consequences of Jenny's actions. Jenny revealed that she had lied about the Chuchi's money. Anne is angry, feeling Jenny used her. Jenny says she did it to help Anne find her purpose. Anne says Jenny is reckless and selfish. The argument gets heated, and Anne throws a bread roll at Jenny. Ben Franklin tries to calm them down, but Anne yells at him too. Jenny reveals a secret from their past, saying Anne did something gross when they were kids. Jenny took the blame for it. Anne is heartbroken. Anne goes home, feeling lost and sad. Her neighbor, Francine, asks her for money she borrowed, but Anne is too upset to talk. She calls her home. Anne is sitting on the neighbor's couch, feeling sad and scared. Her neighbor Francine comes in with tea and they talk. Anne says she's always been scared of being judged or left. Francine says she used to try to make people like her, but it wasn't worth it. She says happiness doesn't exist, and all there is bad and less bad. Jenny gets a call from a game show and they want Anne to be on it. But Jenny is still mad at Anne, so she tells them to call Anne directly. Anne gets the call and is asked to be on the show. She's hesitant at first, but then gets excited and decides to do it. She tells her coworkers, who are being annoying, that she's going to be on TV. Jenny is at a coffee shop and meets her friend who thanks her for believing herself because now she is handling the pastry shop. Jenny gets inspired and decides to take action. Anne asks Francine to come with her to California for the game show, but Francine says no. Then Jenny shows up and says she's ready to help Anne. Jenny finds Ken, who has Anne's dog, Mr. Linguini. Ken wants money, but Jenny offers to pay double if he returns the dog. Ken is hesitant, but Jenny knows he's in financial trouble. She offers to help him if he gives back the dog. Ken disagrees, and Jenny stole the dog back. Anne and Francine arrive at the TV studio for the quiz show. Anne sees Ron Heekek, the host, and Terry, the champion. Ron is wearing a bow tie, which makes Anne suspicious. Terry is kind and humble, but Anne is determined to win to save her dog. The quiz show begins, and Anne is nervous. She looks at Ron, Leah, the other contestant, and Terry. The host, Glenn, starts the show, and Terry welcomes everyone. The scene cuts to different locations where people are watching the quiz show: a sports bar, a hotel, and a bar in Pittsburgh. Everyone is cheering for Anne, except for Trav and Marge, who are not paying attention. Anne is on the quiz show, Can't Stop the Quiz, with host Terry McTeer. She's competing against Ron Heekek, who's trying to win his 84th game. Anne is nervous. Jenny suddenly appears and gave her dog Mr. Linguini is for support. The game starts, and Anne answers questions correctly, but Ron is ahead. Anne's friend Jenny cheers her on from the audience. Anne gets a chance to catch up in the head-to-head round, where she lists NFL teams with more than one Super Bowl win. The game continues, and Anne does well, but Ron is still ahead. Anne gets a bonus for answering questions quickly, which helps her catch up. The final round is Show It, where Anne has to act out answers without speaking. Anne is nervous, but Terry gives her advice to focus on the experience, not just winning or losing. Anne goes on stage for the final round, ready to do her best. Anne switches partners to her sister Jenny before the final round. Ron and his partner Bart go first, acting out clues like Magna Carta and Margaret Thatcher. Anne and Jenny take their turn, acting out clues like Stock Market, Christy Yamaguchi, and Cheesecake. They work well together, and their score rises. The final clue is Hero. Anne acts it out, and Jenny guesses correctly. They win the game, and the crowd goes wild. Anne wins a quiz show called Can't Stop the Quiz. Ron Heekek, the previous champion, accuses Anne of cheating, but the host, Terry McTeer, says she didn't break any rules. After the show, Anne and her sister Jenny celebrate with each other and promise to stay together. The movie then shows what happens to the characters after the show. Ron Heekek has a public meltdown but later goes to therapy and becomes a better person. Bart returns to his job as a codebreaker for the CIA. Mr. Linguini, Anne's dog, becomes a social media star. Terry and Anne become good friends. Francine dies happy after meeting Paul Rubens. Jenny gets a large check from Chuchi's and buys a mansion in California. Anne gets a job as a quiz writer. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please do not forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel.